We at Partner appreciate that you chose the K950 ring saw, and we hope it will be a profitable investment in your business. The ring saw allows you to do work that no normal cutting machine can manage, but in return it requires a bit more from the user, both as regards operating technique and maintenance. We have therefore produced this video, which we hope will give you know-how that will make the ring saw an efficient tool in your hands. The ring saw allows you to cut materials such as stone, concrete, with or without reinforcement, light concrete, tile, asphalt and similar materials. The ring saw is available with blades of different hardness, which you can select to suit the material you're cutting. We'll show you a few sequences from a typical ring saw operation. We want to make an opening in this concrete block. The cuts have to be straight and no overcutting of the corners is permitted. A good way of getting straight cuts is to attach wooden boards to guide the cutting blade, at least for horizontal cuts. For the vertical cuts, we will show how to cut straight with the help of a board, as well as freehand. Wet cutting should always be used with this power cutter. Both the blade and the drive mechanism need to be cooled by water. Just like the other Partner power cutters, this machine runs on a mixture of petrol and oil. The engine is a two-stroke unit that needs to have 2% Partner two-stroke oil mixed with the fuel. Move the machine from the filling position before starting. Exercise great care when handling with fuel. Pull out the choke if the engine is cold, and set the throttle to the starting position. Press in the decompression valve. Once the engine starts up, push in the choke. Start and quickly press the throttle control to release the starter throttle catch. Always begin cutting by first making a guide cut along the board, deep enough so that the water disc enters about 1 centimeter or half an inch into the block. This guide cut will then lead the blade to its full cutting depth. Now use the step cutting technique by increasing the depth by about 5 centimeters or 2 inches every time. If you try to cut to the full depth immediately, it will take longer and cause unnecessary wear on the blade and machine. It is very important that the blade is not twisted in the groove. A cut that was not straight from the beginning can never be straightened out by twisting or turning the machine. What happens is that the blade and the transmission are subjected to incorrect loads, which in the worst case may lead to the blade breaking. When you make a vertical cut, begin the guide cut from the bottom and work upwards. This is the best method of getting a straight cut. Once you have made the guide cut, increase cutting depth by about 5 centimeters or 2 inches. Start at the top and cut downwards. This is the most comfortable method. When cutting freehand, do as follows. Make the guide cut from the bottom up. This gives you a clear view from the blade to the marking in the concrete block. After you have made the guide cut, start at the top and work your way down. Here we show you a method where you can cut at full depth immediately after the guide cut. Then you should move the machine back and forth while cutting. This method can naturally only be used when cutting in thin materials, and you do not need to use the blade's full cutting depth. In this section, we will demonstrate the feed pressure at which the cutting machine should be operated. First, we will show, or rather we will hear, how the machine should operate under the correct load conditions. Normally, the machine should be operated at full throttle and feed pressure should reduce engine revs to the correct level, about 20% below the unloaded max revs. Using the correct feed pressure gives the best cutting economy. If the feed pressure is too low, the machine will run at excessive revs and cutting will be slow. If the feed pressure is too high, this will impose extra wear on the drive and engagement system. In extreme cases, the blade will slip against the drive disc. We will show the correct feed pressure once more. What is most important is that you plan your cutting work for maximum personal safety. If you are the least bit doubtful about the order in which to make the cuts, or how to secure the object being cut, you must ask an expert. Before every cutting job, you must ask yourself the following question. What happens during cutting, and what happens when you have finished cutting and the pieces fall apart? In order to avoid injury to yourself and damage to the blade, you must usually secure the object, for instance as in this example by placing 4 supports under the block. We will now repeat the most important points when working with the ring saw. Plan your cutting so you do not risk your own safety or block the blade's rotation. Prepare the cutting operation so the grooves are straight. Let the blade operate straight in the groove and do not turn or twist the machine to either side. And work in such a way that the ring blade has a short contact area in the cutting groove. In other words, use step cutting. After you finish working, rinse the machine clean. It enjoys a stream of clean water far more than a mess of concrete slurry that bakes hard onto it. And if you're not going to use the machine for a while, we recommend that you oil the blade and the parts that drive and engage the blade. Maintenance of the ring saw is different to that of a conventional center-driven power cutter. The ring saw's drive and engagement system for the blade is subjected to wear and requires relatively frequent inspection and adjustment to function properly. However, once you have learned the procedure, servicing the machine is a quick and simple job.